Hello. So today we're going to be talking about the Battlefront 2 trailer and panel that just finished up at Star Wars Celebration. I was watching it. They dropped a lot of good stuff about Battlefront 2, and I'm really looking forward to it. So I have a lot of information we got to lay out here. So let's just start from the beginning. Let's talk about the story mode, and it's focusing on a girl who's in the Imperial Special Forces. She comes from a planet named Vardos, and they said her name a lot, but I couldn't figure out how to spell it. It starts with like a V, I think. But basically her story is she was an elite special forces for the Empire, and then she's on Endor as the second Death Star explodes, and her squad, which is called Inferno Squad, are going to be avenging Emperor Palpatine, and that's going to lead probably into the creation of the First Order and stuff like that. They showed off a little bit of that in the trailer. You watch her, she's there as it explodes, and it was a overall pretty solid trailer, and a lot of the backstory is going to be covered in the Battlefront 2 Inferno Squad novel. They spent a lot of time on that. I mean, I was kind of disappointed that they spent so much time covering the book instead of, showing us gameplay, which they did not show us any gameplay, so that's my one detraction from that panel. But besides that, a lot of good stuff came out of this. So yes, that's the basic story. And they also said there's going to be woven into the story, there's going to be special levels where you could play as heroes. And they said, for example, there's a level where you could play as Luke and Kylo Ren. And they say these fit the narrative. I'm going to think probably some of these are flashbacks, or flashbacks, or like maybe like while you're playing a mission, like you'll play the next mission, it'll be like while that was going on, this was going on. And I really think that an Order 66 mission is going to be in there somewhere. I don't know how they'll include it, but I feel like that's something that would fit this narrative that they're going after, which is like a separate story but still connects to the true story. So I feel like maybe my idea was maybe it's Luke talking to young voice crack. It's Luke talking to young Kylo Ren, telling him what happened to the original Jedi in Order 66. So that's just my idea. So that's basically the story. Pretty solid story, and it's all canon, so that'll be exciting to see. Now let's get into the multiplayer. We got a lot of good, solid information. So first of all, there's going to be classes similar to, I would probably speculate, Battlefield 1, 4, and probably closer to the original Battlefront 1s and 2s. He said it's like classes, and I assume it's probably just like that. Probably have your sniper, rocket launcher, specialist, stuff like that. And that got a huge roar from the audience, so that was really good. I'm looking forward to that. And he said you could upgrade your soldiers, so I'm thinking maybe they're ditching star cards instead of making it similar to the original Battlefront 2, where each class has different abilities that you could use. Maybe it'll be on a cooldown similar to that, but we have no confirmation of that yet. Also, just a general thing they said more heroes, more weapons, more vehicles, so that's something to look forward to, especially on the vehicle side, because, I mean, all we had in the new Battlefront 1 was the speeder on Endor. I mean, if you want to count the starfighters that you could play as sometimes in the ATS2, I mean, that's great, but they're power-ups, so I'm hoping they stay away from the power-ups. I'm hoping they go back to the original Battlefronts where they're just there and you could hop in. So we got that, and then they also talked about upgraded heroes, which I thought was pretty interesting. They didn't really go into too much detail, but they said you could like upgrade your hero to fit your specific playstyle. So I'm gonna do a little speculation right here, and let's take Boba Fett for example. He's still, as of yet, not confirmed to be in this game, but he'll probably be in the game. For example, he has flamethrowers, rocket launchers, pistols, and stuff like that. Perhaps maybe you could select which ones of those, when you play as Boba Fett, you want to use, and maybe upgrade them. So maybe the flamethrower is stronger. Maybe you have his jetpack rocket. Maybe the jetpack lasts longer. Stuff like that. I don't know what they could really do for everybody else. Maybe, for example, Luke. I mean, what he has the Force and he has his lightsaber. I don't know how you could really upgrade that and change that, but maybe we'll find out. Perhaps maybe when you play as Episode 4 and 5 Luke, maybe he could pull out a pistol. Just an idea. They also talked about costumes. They touched on that at the end when they talked about the pre-order bonus of the Last Jedi content that got a resounding boo from the audience when they said you could get Last Jedi content by pre-ordering. So they said that by pre-ordering you could get a Last Jedi themed Rey and Kylo costume for those heroes. So I'm thinking costumes are going to be integrated into this. So that's probably part of the customization, like they started doing it in Battlefront 1 where they for some reason had Return of the Jedi Luke on Hoth, so maybe they're switching that similar to that where they put the right Luke that was supposed to be there, so maybe you could change what Luke looks like. Maybe he could have his Cloud City gear, or he could go to Tatooine style clothes. So that's kind of interesting. I'd like to see where they take that. And they also said there's going to be... That's pretty much all for that section. Now let's talk about more general gameplay stuff. There was they said there's a huge emphasis on space battles, which is, wow, no shit. That should have been like that from Battlefront 1, but hey, we're making progress. So they said space battles are going to be just as customizable via, just like how you can customize your heroes and your soldiers, you can customize your pilots and your ships. So I think that's really cool. They said there's different classes of ships. So I'm kind of thinking about maybe like Battlefront 1, there was, if we use the Clone Wars, there was the ARC 170, then there was the V-Wing, and then there was the LAAT, the heavy gunship, which that was already seen in a picture. We'll get to that later. So I guess that's what they mean. Maybe they already have it now, like a TIE fighter, a regular TIE fighter can only shoot, it has the proton torpedo and it has speed boost, and then the TIE Interceptor doesn't overheat, and I think it also has shields or speed boost or something like that. So I guess they and you could customize that. Maybe you could put proton torpedoes on stuff that wouldn't normally have proton torpedoes. So I'm looking forward to that. Maybe get some cool paint jobs or something. So that's yet to be determined. But they also showed this picture of stormtroopers running in a hangar as a TIE fighter flies in. I think this might be it says early concept art, but you know, so I think this might lead us to make the assumption that maybe similar to Battlefront 2, you'll be able to fight in space battles where you could fly into hangars and fly out, maybe destroy capital ships. They said capital ships are going to play a huge role in space battles. So based on this picture, that's what I'm kind of hoping for. Also, based on this other picture, there's a sequence on a Starkiller base where a TIE fighter is seen crashing down from the sky onto Starkiller base as people are fighting down there. I don't know if that... I kind of thought maybe that's ground to space. Maybe there's the... But then it could just be just like how we have it now, where there's just TIE fighters and X-Wings fighting above Starkiller base and one crashed. Just a thought. And so we're going to go ahead and let's talk about the confirmed planets we have so far. So let's start the prequel planets. We have so far only Naboo and Kamino. Naboo was seen in the trailer, and then Kamino was in this art that they showed, which shows clone troopers with jump packs. And then this other art, we'll get more on that later. So those are the only two we have confirmed for the prequel era. But I'd wager to guess there's at least one or two more. I might think maybe Geonosis or Utapau. That's I would have my money on those two. Or even if they wanted to go more of the Clone Wars TV show route, maybe Umbara or I don't know, stuff like that. Anyway, so the original trilogy era, we have same stuff: Endor, Hoth, and Tatooine. But this is a different part of Tatooine. Based on this picture, this looks like Mos Eisley's, and you can see there's the sand speeder, and we'll get more on that later. So far that's the most planets per era right now is the original trilogy with 3 prequels, and sequels both have 2. The sequels so far we only have Starkiller Base and Takodana, which I guess they could do Jakku too if they really wanted to. I don't really know where else they could bring it. Oh, I forgot. This picture here at the end shows, they use this in the end promotion screen. They actually have, it's Yavin 4 at the bottom, so that brings the original trilogy up to 4 planets. So maybe that's going to be the standard. 4 planets per era at the start. That's a pretty solid guess. I'd go with that. So let's move into the confirmed heroes so far. There's only 5. We have Rey and Kylo, obviously, and then Luke. And then I'm assuming there'll probably be an episode 7 costume for Luke, give him a beard and stuff like that. And then Maul and Yoda. Those are the only heroes confirmed so far. There's probably going to be tons, which I hope. And they made it sound like, you know, in the original Battlefront, you could play, for example, Kamino during the Clone Wars, and then Kamino during the Empire. The host kind of like said something like that. He said, if you're on Hoth, expect snowtroopers, and if you're on Kamino, expect clones. I guess that disproves the theory that maybe you'll be able to play different eras with different armies, but that has yet to be concretely confirmed, so it's just speculation right now. And then there's the return of hero ships. Obviously, there's the Millennium Falcon, which is getting, he said even that had a costume. He said it's an episode 8 themed Millennium Falcon, which I'm not quite sure how different. I mean, I guess there's a different antenna, but that's probably just about it. And so we saw that, and then there's, in this picture, there's Slave 1, but it's Jango flying the Slave 1 because it's episode 2, so I'm probably leaning towards Jango is probably also a playable hero for the prequel era. And there's Obi-Wan Starfighter in the same picture, so leaning, you know, again, Obi-Wan is probably a playable hero for the prequel era. And those are the only ships we have so far. He said there's as of yet unnamed First Order ship that we're going to see in The Last Jedi that will also be a ship you get for pre-ordering. So that's all we have right now for that. And I also want to touch on these vehicles that we're seeing in some of these pictures and in the trailer. On Hoth we saw the Tauntauns, and that was a welcome addition because in this right now, the Battlefront we have right now is really lacking vehicles that you don't need a fucking power up to get. So you see rideable Tauntauns, and while he's on the Tauntaun, he kills someone with the Tauntaun, and then he also has his blaster out, which is a good sign, so you'll probably be able to shoot. I know it's like a cinematic, but to represent the game. You get it. And then I don't think we saw a speeder on Endor, but then you see the land speeder at Tatooine, Mos Eisley's, which I forget if you could use that in the original Battlefront, like the old ones. I don't think you could, but that's a new vehicle. And what was it? What else was there? There was those two. That's all we have so far for that. But that's a welcome addition that I hope we get more vehicles like that. On Endor, our main character is standing on something. I don't know what it was. I thought maybe it was a tank, or it could be a bunker. It could be something, but we don't know what that is yet. And one more thing I wanted to touch on, which this is story mode wise, we get this shot of the main character talking to this red draped figure as the Emperor's talking, and it looks like, my guess, this is a really out there guess, I think it's a droid that's part of Palpatine's contingency plan, where maybe the droid has Palpatine, air quotes, in him, where it's programmed to it's just programmed to bring the Empire back together. That's just my guess. Not quite sure if it's true. In Legends, something similar happened where there was Palpatine clones, but that's Legends. So this would be interesting that they brought him back as a droid for the story mode, and then have him obviously die again because he's not in Force Awakens, and have that still be canon. So we have yet to figure all that out. Also probably the ship they fly in the trailer that'll probably be playable. It's the new something class Corvette, Imperial Corvette, that just got revealed in the Thrawn novel. So that's all this for now. Hope you guys enjoy, and I'll see you guys eventually.